Hey folks, this is Strong Games, and welcome to Total War Warhammer 3. Today we're going to look at just the overall interface for Total War Warhammer 3, because it's a game that has a pretty significant learning curve if you've never played it before. And I just want to go over the interface utilized in the game and point out a few different important aspects to be aware of. So we'll start in the top left up here. So you've got kind of your menu. This is where you can save your game, load, look at your key bindings, that sort of stuff. All your settings, anything is in here. I recommend just clicking around in there if you're new. There is the option for the advisor here. He'll come up or she'll come up and give you some tips. There are help pages up here if you need additional help with different aspects of the game, so I recommend using that to start with. You have the full unit and spell browser for the faction that you're playing, so I'm playing the Skaven right now. You can actually adjust and look at whatever one you want, as well as all of the different spells. So there's a lot of information in here. I just recommend taking a look at this as needed. And then you have your camera settings, so there are different camera settings that you can utilize for different kind of items, your own faction, specific factions, allied factions, enemy factions, looking at animation speeds. There's lots of different camera settings that you can use. And so right now you'll see that we don't really have anything in the bottom left, but as soon as you select something, so I'm going to select this settlement of Skavenblight here, and so this is actually a city, and then you'll notice that I get two new windows popping up. I get the window in the bottom left and in the bottom center. And so in the bottom left, what you'll see is a bunch of different items here. When you click on settlements, you'll see the growth tab. And so you can see once growth reaches a certain threshold, you'll create a population surplus. And then that is actually used to upgrade your main settlement building, which is this one here. And you need certain amounts of growth to upgrade these settlements. And it also shows you how much growth you're getting per turn, the number of turns before you get an additional point there. Then it shows you your income from the region. You can toggle off whether to collect income or not. Off the bat, I always recommend collecting income, but if a region is struggling, then you can sometimes shut this off. There's the aspect of control. Control in this province right now is at -3. You can see that I'm losing control in it. I get a point from Skaven Corruption, and I'm losing points because I'm collecting income from it. It says at the current rate there will be a rebellion in 34 turns. So if you lose too much control, if this number ever hits -100, then there will be a revolt and an army will spawn near this. And then there are different levels of corruption in the area. So there are quite a few different types: Chaos Undivided, Vampiric, Skaven, Khorne, Nurgle, Slaanesh, and Tzeentch. And then there are province effects. Sometimes these are from, lords or heroes that are doing different things. And then you also have this commandments tab. So if you control all of the settlements in a specific province, right now this province has only a single settlement, then you can actually set a commandment. And there are several different options. These are different for each faction. Then you have the center section. So I'm selected on Skavenblight here. So this gives me the actual buildings that I can build in this area here. I won't go through all of the different options here, but this is just where you actually tell your city to build a specific building or upgrade a specific building, and it gives you a bunch of other options here as well. So it shows you your garrison. So these are the units that are in this city at all times. You can have a look at the building browser and look at like the whole picture, all the different options of items that you can build within a specific settlement. And then you can also go to recruiting lords. There are a bunch of different lords available that you could recruit. And you can also try to recruit heroes depending on the buildings that are built in that section. And so that's kind of your middle tab. This middle tab also shows up if you select an army or another entity, but you'll notice on the bottom left the actual bottom left interface has changed slightly. So here now I can actually look at this character. I can see things like items that they have. I can see how much movement range they have. I can actually click on what level they are, to reveal a bunch of different skill sets and things like that. We won't go into those now, but you can access it. And then you can also look at character details. You can look at items that are equipped. You can look at their abilities. You can look at their traits, effects, different things like that. So you also have the option to change their stance. There are several different stances available for each faction, for each army. And if these stances provide different effects, I recommend just going through them. Changing to different stances can affect your movement. So you can see if I select this, I'm losing quite a bit of movement compared to if I don't select that. So that's another option. You can also, if you click on enemy settlements, you also still get a look at the corruption province effects, and you can roughly see what settlements are here. In the bottom, you can look at their garrisons very roughly. See, I can't see these settlements because they are actually, over here. But I'm able to actually take a look at. I think the other one's actually over there somewhere. But I can see roughly how many units there are there, as well as, this one I can see that they have a minor settlement and a port available. Then we can go to the bottom right menu. So this is where you actually have things like the objectives. So this is where you can look at your victory conditions, any active missions, things like that. There's also diplomacy tab. This is how you make deals and things like that with other factions, and then you can see it changes the view of this. We won't go through this in detail right now. Every faction has some type of tech tree available, so you'll be able to research different items here, and these things are different for every faction. Then you'll have often a faction or a race specific item. So for the Skaven, for Ikit, it's rights. I've got several different options here, but there's certain criteria I have to fulfill before I can do those. Then I have the option to see Skaven corruption, so you can see the Skaven corruption in this area is quite high, whereas in these ones it's kind of non-existent. You can see the little toggle there. Then I also have access to a specific option here available for Ikit. Each faction has different items, so you'll have to explore the different menus. And I have some options to upgrade certain items or different units or things like that here. And then I also have this kind of button here, so it says Lord isn't moved, so I can click that, it'll show me where that is, but if I don't care about that, I can actually skip it. Oh, I've got some building upgrades, I don't want to do that. Oh, I didn't move a hero, I can skip that. Oh, I can got a commandment, so I'll just pick a commandment. And eventually it will get back to this end turn. It also shows you the current turn number, and then you also can toggle notifications for different items. So sometimes when you get into the later stages of the game, you get lots of the same notifications for different things. So I'm not going to click that yet, because up in the top right we have this actual radar map, so I can see roughly where some settlements are. And you can see these ones are gray because I'm not at war with them, whereas these ones are red because I am at war with these guys. Then you have things like events. So there are events, shows actually, some different events that show up here. You can look at the lords and heroes that you have available. You can also look at provinces, and this is like your provinces as well as other ones that you can see that are close to you. So this can help you look at, income of certain provinces. So like this one here is earning 560, so I might be interested in capturing the cities in this area because they're earning, twice as much money as my place is earning. Then there are things like known factions, so these are all the different factions that you met, and then there's also a really nice thing in the top right where I can look at a faction summary. So this is where you can look at overall statistics. You can look at records as you do more turns. This builds up. You can look at faction effects, your treasury, your income, how many potential heroes you have, how many armies, who your allies, who you're at war with, all of those different nice items that are just good to check out. then often there is a top bar available. And the top bar has the treasuries, this is the current amount of money that you have on hand, as well as how much money you are earning per turn. So if you mouse over these, you can see that I'm paying for some army upkeep, I'm making a decent amount of money, and I'm netting $1,873 every turn. And then I have some item up here that's called Warp Fuel, and I have something else called a Warp Storm Doom Rocket. These are specific to the faction that I am playing, and so there are different things up in this top bar. I just recommend exploring them. Because I'm playing this Skaven, I have a function up here that's called Food, so I want to make sure that I take a look at this. It looks like the more food that I have available, the more benefits that I get. And so you'll want to check out what these faction level benefits are. One other thing that I didn't mention is when you click on a unit or a lord, you can actually then click on each of these individual units and you'll get a little statistics frame for it. So here, this unit here has range, ammunition, so this is actually a ranged unit. This one here is also a ranged unit, whereas these ones don't have the option for ammunition or things like that. These are melee units only. So you can see a little bit more there, and then you can also do some examining of these different menus for buildings. You can see that, you know, if you build this building, then you have access to recruit these. I will click on one of these because you have this recruit units option, and here, so it says I can't do anything because I'm in foreign territory, and the territory is actually marked right here along this green and red boundary. So if I just move a little bit this way, now I have the option to recruit regiments of renown or recruit units, and I can train additional units. It shows me how much they cost and their upkeep. So that's kind of a very brief overview of the interface that you'll work with in Total War Warhammer 3. And so that's all I've really kind of got for this one. If you like the content, feel free to leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more in the future. Thanks for watching.